Hi there, this is Tata, and welcome to a Chelsea Time post show. And tonight I will only be reviewing Friday Night SmackDown because we had a stacked Friday Night SmackDown, but I'm not alone. Joining me is Josh. He's my co-host over on the WrestleManiacs podcast. So Josh, it's good to have you back.
Hey, thanks for having me back. Tell you what, your intro music always gets me hyped all the time. I mean, I'm just sitting there banging my head. They can't see me doing it, but definitely gets me ready to go and gets me pumped.
Well, doesn't it remind you of Power Rangers?
Oh, it does for sure. It does. It makes me reminisce about those days. But yes, I mean, definitely. But every time I go, it just, I don't know, gets my blood blood going, you know?
Hey man, like I told the guy, like, because I got my intro custom professionally made. So
Right.
I told, the music, not the video.
Right.
I told the guy, make it sound like Power Rangers, and he nailed it. He knocked it right out of the park.
I mean, I'm not going to say I'm going to shake ropes over here, but it almost reminds me of Warrior Power Rangers just sitting there. That's what it makes me think of. So definitely a good night. And definitely a stacked card. I mean, you kind of wonder if it's in response to the whole NXT, AEW, Tony Khan losing his mind on Twitter, but we can talk about that another time. But tonight, SmackDown.
Yes, definitely. So let's kick things off talking about this Triple H segment. Like he was advertised for this show, and I kind of wondered what this segment was going to be about. Part of me was kind of like, okay, maybe we're going to get new tag titles. That did not happen.
Nope.
Instead, we found out that Adam Pearce is getting a promotion. He's going to be general manager of Raw. And Nick Aldis, making his on TV debut. If you guys don't know, Nick Aldis has been working as a producer for WWE. Time to change in the intro to add an image of the Ultimate Warrior with the music in the background shaking ropes. That's a good suggestion. And so we found out that Nick Aldis is now GM of SmackDown. Now, Dominic Mysterio did interrupt, and he was like, he was getting booed. And I like how Triple H was like, oh, wow, that was loud. I always thought that WWE piped that in, which, again, is making fun of the fact that people have accused the WWE of piping in that noise. So this was quite the segment. So we also found out that because Jey Uso went to Raw, somebody went to SmackDown, and that person was none other than Kevin Owens, who is introduced as SmackDown's newest superstar, and he gave Dominic Mysterio a stunner. So what were your overall thoughts on this segment of Adam Pearce being Raw GM, Nick Aldis debuting and becoming SmackDown GM, and Kevin Owens getting traded over to SmackDown?
Sure. Well, this is a big reversal of the McMahon edict that there are no more general managers, that now the McMahon family, back from 2018 when they were all in the ring saying we're going to listen to the fans. So I love the general manager thing. It's been gone I haven't realized that it's been gone since 2018. Having Adam Pearce as the Raw general manager, he pretty much always is on the show anyways as an official. Aldis as a SmackDown general manager is interesting. He definitely has the professional look. He can pull off a suit. Now, will they keep him as that? Will they have him wrestle eventually? I kind of wonder that. Again, as we know, he's actually real life married to Mickie James over at Impact Wrestling now. So I'm curious if there's going to be little meta winks, kind of like how Triple H had tonight with that. Mysterio coming out was a surprise. Didn't expect him to interrupt the game that way. But definitely, I think the best part about the segment was Kevin Owens coming out, not saying anything. Almost reminiscent of Stone Cold, just kind of having that sort of just boom, hits the center, and that's all there was. I mean, I kind of expected a bigger announcement. Again, maybe a tag title. But if you notice later on in the show, Chelsea Green kind of hinted at maybe having women's titles. Now, granted, that was just kind of her character, but I kind of wonder if maybe there's something in the works there. So overall, the segment was good. I think it was a hot segment. I was surprised it came a little later in the show. I kind of expected them to kick off SmackDown and saying, welcome to Friday Night SmackDown, but I'm kind of glad they did something different.
Yeah, same. I kind of thought this segment would open SmackDown, and it didn't. Really glad they went with something different. Now, I wonder if maybe Nick Aldis would eventually separate the tag titles. I tweeted this out on Twitter. Roman Reigns got a new title. Asuka, when she was champion, got a new title. Rhea Ripley got a new title. Why haven't we gotten new tag team titles yet?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely. I've never liked the whole silver aspect. To me, it's kind of like the silver medal. I get that it's not the world title, but I don't know. I've never. I didn't like the Roman design on the to begin with, and I don't know. I mean, new tag titles would have been great. Now I
Definitely.
was surprised it was KO. I kind of thought that was the way they were going to bring Cody, but I guess because he technically is undisputed champ with Jey Uso, I guess it really doesn't matter. But I mean, Roman Reigns was all over the show tonight, but I love that they kind of basically reference the fact that he's been gone and he's kind of like, what happened? Why is this person on my show? Why is this person on my show? So it definitely, I think, was a good stacked show. But I think I don't know. Uh, Again, I was surprised that Triple H did not open up the show, but I don't think it was a bad thing because it was something a little bit different.
Yeah, definitely. Let me see. It should have been Cody. I'm like, why? Owens is now with him and Sammy are broken up again. Bad move. Finally bring back the GM roles. Glad they didn't change Aldis' name. The belts look like toast. So just to touch on a few things, I'm really glad they did keep Nick Aldis' name. Thought they were gonna change it to something different.
Something weird.
And number two, you know, I actually kind of like that they split the team up this way because normally WWE goes around, oh, somebody turns on each other, somebody turns heel, and then they split up. But this is going to add an interesting dynamic because Cody Rhodes brought Jey Uso to SmackDown, to Raw. So
Right.
Sami Zayn was all for it, but now he lost his best friend and tag team partner. So I wonder how that's going to affect his friendship or with Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes here.
The only thing I was hoping for that I'm kind of sad KO moved is I was hoping for a Sammy and KO versus DIY. Whether
Oh
whoever turns heel,
yeah,
that's the only thing we're not going to get. I mean, granted, I guess we could maybe get it down the line because technically, I mean, you and I both know that really the WWE doesn't really follow the draft rules. I always loved that because I remember back when Jericho, I'm going way back when he showed up, on Raw, him and I
showing your
think
age.
Un-Americans, right back in 02, I was like, oh my gosh, it made you feel like, wait a minute, they're not supposed to be here. And now it kind of, I don't know, that magic is sort of missing from the draft. I kind of think that maybe there needs to be a split of the tag team titles even because I don't want to see the same people on my show twice. That's the idea is you're supposed to have competition, which this ties into the Aldis debut segment that he talks about having stiff competition amongst one another. So I'm hopefully they're going to go back to a brand split and having them basically say Aldis has stolen Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes. Maybe they could do that. And then it explains the idea that, hey, Cody's now on SmackDown exclusively.
And we'll get more into that in a little bit. And see, man, good memories from OT when the draft meant something. Yep, good memories. So this whole segment leads into a backstage segment with Nick Aldis. He's talking to Chelsea Green, and then he talks to Charlotte Flair. We find out she's getting a match next week for the women's title because of what happened
Right.
at Fastlane. But it's interesting because Triple H also is in that segment, and he brings along Jade Cargill, and they finally meet. Yeah, Jade Cargill meeting Charlotte Flair, and let me tell you, that was wow! Like that was an amazing moment, and I wonder if this is potentially setting up a match between the two of them. I don't want this to happen. Like I don't want Charlotte to beat Io Sky and become a new women's champion. But if she does, I wonder if Jade Cargill would come out and confront her.
I wouldn't be against it. I mean, again, no, I don't want Charlotte Flair to be Io Sky. I would much rather it be maybe something on Raw because I think I'd read somewhere where Jade Cargill is supposed to be exclusive to Raw. But I mean, it was definitely one of those segments that, and you could tell Triple H's fingerprints are all over the creative now, as we kind of read, that he's now basic control of creative. Because if you look at, they really said nothing. They really just said, I know who you are. You know who I am. And that was kind of it. I liked it because it was simple. It kind of reminded me of the whole epic stare down between he and Triple and Undertaker back in, what was it, 2011, when they just looked at each other, looked at the sign, and that's all it was needed. So the tension is there already. So I don't know. I like this segment because sometimes less is more. And that's definitely what I wanted. I didn't want to see them fight. I didn't want to see them get into a brawl. Just the idea of acknowledging each other. It's like, I know who you are. You know who I am. And that's all you need to have.
Yeah, that was a pretty awesome segment. That Jade versus Charlotte stare down was awesome. It will definitely set up a match for them. It definitely will. It definitely will.
So who's going to be
So
the heel is the question. Will they make Jade the face or will they make Charlotte the face? I would imagine they would probably try to make I hate to say Charlotte be the face. I mean, again, they seem like they're hyping Jade Cargill so much, it makes me want to think she's going to be a baby face, but I don't know. With Charlotte Flair, and there's always a Charlotte Flair effect if she gets what she wants. So,
Yeah. But also, we had an undisputed tag team match: Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso versus Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, or as I think they're known as A-Town Done Under. So Jay will be the heel and Sherry will be the face. No, I think it should be the opposite.
yeah.
But we'll see. So I actually thought this was a pretty decent match. I don't know if you would agree with me, but I think Grayson Waller and Austin Theory make an incredible tag team, and I could see them be tag team champions. This is why I advocate for the splitting of the tag title, so more tag teams could get opportunities.
Right. No, I agree. I definitely think Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, why initially you wouldn't think they'd be together, I think it does kind of highlight it. And I'm sorry to say it. I mean, I'll just say it. I think Grayson Waller really has kind of surpassed Austin Theory, because Austin Theory beat John Cena, but where's his momentum? He has no momentum. Grayson Waller is always interviewing whoever. Like, I really honestly thought the whole Austin Theory and The Rock segment was kind of odd, only because, again, if you think about it, Grayson Waller had been calling out The Rock for months now and referencing him. So I was really kind of surprised about that. But they are a good team. I mean, I definitely think they would be a great heel tag team, but it is Austin Theory, I'm afraid, is, I hate to say it, I think he'll get lost in the shuffle with Grayson Waller, because that kid's got charisma for sure.
Austin and Waller make a good tag team pairing. Yeah, they do. They make a good pairing. Let's talk about what happened after the match. So Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes are walking up the ramp, and the Bloodline music hits. And only Jimmy and Solo originally come out, and they're just kind of having that stare down with Cody and Jay. And then Roman comes out, and Roman and Cody have that epic stare down. And I think Roman whispers to Cody, "This is my show." And they're just, that's what, I don't know if that's your WrestleMania 40 main event, whether it be night 1 or night 2 main event, but there's definitely the rematch looming between them.
Right. It kind of, I mean, fine, finish the story if you need to. Again, I hate to say it, but Roman Reigns has been put so far above Jay and Jimmy. It kind of was one of those kind of like, oh, okay, the dad's here to finally show everybody who's boss. And truly, that was it. I kind of really expected a more interaction with Aldis and Roman. I guess that's not going to happen yet. But I still kind of, I mean, granted, he did go out there, he did kind of separate him, but I really expected a more, I don't know, because again, Roman's kind of throwing his weight around, and I kind of expected Aldis to be like, nope, I'm the boss, and you're going to do what I tell you type of deal. So
yeah, exactly.
I like the segment, but again, the Roman and Cody thing, I don't know. I mean, everybody wants him to finish the story right, but to me, it's like once he lost, the best story I'd heard, and I'll just tell this quick little interview that Cody Rhodes had. He said he was interviewing, I forget what it was, Chris Van Vliet, I think. He said when he lost at WrestleMania, he looks in the crowd, and this guy bought all his merch, all his gear, his shirt, his jacket, and the guy just goes, and he's like, I felt so bad, and I was like, that's pretty much all of us. We're like, dude, come on.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I like the segment, but I don't know. I'm not buying into the whole Rhodes and Roman again. To me, it's just too far too late, in my opinion. And that may be a unpopular one, but to me, it's like, give it to somebody else.
Well, if it doesn't happen at WrestleMania 40, it might happen at SummerSlam, because, if Rock comes back, it might be Roman versus Rock.
I wouldn't mind that. Again, I mean, we all know that Roman's going to have to go over. I don't know. I think that there's something called the bloodline fatigue. I mean, again, there was a lot of hints of it. Just look at Jimmy acting like he was, the boss, and he was like, stop doing that. Stop trying to act like you're the boss around here. And are we going to talk about Heyman coloring his hair, or is they never referenced it? I don't believe, unless I missed it. I don't think they ever referenced he's all of a sudden got black hair again.
I don't think they do, but we'll get into that as we kick off with the SmackDown opening segment.
Okay.
Let me see. Hold on. What does Michael say? Cody will win it at Mania, or Roman might compete both nights. I don't know. You know, we didn't see. I guess it's too early. If The Rock is not unlocked, who knows? So John Cena came out, and he was opening SmackDown. And then he gets interrupted by Roman Reigns, who calls him Hollywood.
I like that little throwback. I thought that was pretty good.
And, I have to say, Roman's come a long way in his promo skills. I'll never forget their promo, John Cena and Roman's promo from like 2017, where John Cena murdered Roman on the mic. I mean, it was bad.
Tater tot. Sheamus and Tater tot. That's what I remember. I'm like, oh. Yeah, I mean, he's definitely come. And the thing is, he doesn't have to say much. That's the thing. It's really, literally, it is less is more. It is now going to be, I'm going to smash you. I'm going to stack you. And that's all he had to say. He doesn't have to have these long-winded promos. It's not a Triple H show. It definitely, think of Batista. Batista was the same way. You really never had these long segments. Now, granted, we have the famous "Give Me What I Want," right? That was definitely the highlight, I think, of Dave Batista's promo career. But I what I loved about this segment. Go on. I'll talk about the little nuance that I like in LA Knight.
Okay. Hold on. So it says Rock versus Roman Night 1, Cody versus Roman Night 2. Yeah, they could do that. You can't forget when Roman got booed the Raw after WrestleMania 33. Yup, he did get booed. So I kind of thought that Cena was, with Cena being out there, we were going to get Roman versus Cena again at Crown Jewel, probably. That doesn't happen. Cena actually says that he's not here to challenge Roman since he hasn't earned it, but he knows someone who does. And then out comes LA Knight. Yeah. And the crowd's just on their feet. They're chanting for LA Knight. Yeah. And then Roman just he's the master of facial expression because he's just making all these faces and he's just looking at LA Knight. Yeah. Like, who is this guy? Yeah. Right. Yeah. And before LA Knight could even cut a full promo, he just says that Roman is the man standing in his way, but Roman Reigns cuts him off and says that he's proud of LA Knight because the crowd knows his name. And he asks, who is he? Who is he being in the ring with? But before, LA Knight can answer that, Jimmy Uso attacks him from behind. Then he tossed Jimmy out of the ring. And Paul Heyman convinced Roman and Solo to leave. And then this sets up our main event. It's Solo Sikoa versus LA Knight. Yeah. And as you were saying, Paul Heyman dyed his hair. So I don't know what was going on NXT.
Well, there's two things that I loved here. One, that Paul Heyman colored his hair. Nobody referenced it. Nobody said anything. And there's probably some nuance that we should have picked up on. Maybe the idea that, I kind of wonder if they're telling this meta story. Again, I doubt it. But then again, if we go back to the QR codes and kind of the White Rabbit from Bray Wyatt, which, sad to think about now, but the little nuances and the little hints in the background, if you've noticed on shows, they've been doing that a lot with McIntyre and Rhea in the background on Raw. I kind of wonder if the idea is that when Roman's away, that Paul Heyman's tired of having to deal with the bloodline. He's getting tired of, having to take care of everything. Now, granted, you would say, well, Roman watches the show, but who knows? They never really talk about it very often. And the idea is he's back and now he's happy. Now he's Paul Heyman again. But what I loved is this one camera shot. And it was focused on LA Knight's glasses with Roman's reflection. That is some great cinema. That is some great storytelling. I've done camera work before, and I'll tell you, that was probably the best piece right there. Just seeing the reflection of Roman Reigns' face looking. And again, I love that Roman, again, like you said, was kind of like, who are you? Who exactly are you? And on top of that, then when LA Knight basically says, you're going to be in my way, he kind of laughs. It's like, boy, shut up, please. That's what he basically wanted to say. Boy, shut up. There's so little nuances that Roman Reigns has picked up now on that I love. That's why I love watching him, because it's a simple, itty bitty nuance, but it's definitely something that you don't see very often anymore.
Yeah, and that shot you were talking about, yeah. Yeah. I actually really do like that shot. You could see Roman in his glasses. Whoever was a cameraman that got that, props to that person. Seriously. They got mad camera skills for getting that shot. But that's a really good shot. And you know something? He's probably going to lose. Unfortunately, that's the sad truth. He's probably going to lose. Right. But it's going to be one hell of a star-making performance for LA Knight. I mean, his push is only going to continue after that. This is the biggest match of his career.
Better than Logan Paul again. So, hey, look, I'm definitely for it. And again, there's something to be said in a loss. Look, Austin lost WrestleMania 13. He became a star after. You look at all these different ones that lost. Undertaker lost the title to Hulk Hogan back in 1991 and still was a star on his first debut. So really, sometimes losing doesn't hurt. Sometimes it's really just the idea that, hey, he can hang with him now. And he's in the same conversation as Roman Reigns, LA Knight, Cody Rhodes. So,
Yeah.
and when we're endorsed by John Cena, I mean, I think LA Knight, himself even tweeted about a year ago that he left the Dupree name, and now he's teaming with John Cena a year later. So, I mean, that says a lot and says volumes for that and his age, too. I mean, because he's not a young chicken. He's 40. So, I mean, definitely for his resurgence in his career from Eli Drake, I should say, to LA Knight. Yeah, I mean, crazy.
Yes. All right. So next we get the Pretty Deadly versus the Brawling Brutes. This is Pretty Deadly's big return to SmackDown after Elton Prince, suffered his shoulder injury. I have to say, Pretty Deadly's winning me over here. I didn't get to see what they could do down in NXT because, as you know, I don't watch NXT. I don't know how many times I have to say that on my show, but I don't watch NXT. So, pretty no.
awful.
Well, I disagree because I'm Pretty Deadly's winning me over. I mean, Elton Prince homeboy was in a wheelchair when he hurt his shoulder.
Right. I mean, we're talking about. I kind of call them I dare say the resurgence, and not exactly to the same entertaining factor, but they're entertaining. But they make me think of Billy and Chuck so much from O2. Again, not that they're exactly alike, but I definitely see the gimmick kind of placating that. And again, well, right, but that's the idea, though. And I'm looking at the comments here that they are cringe. I think that's kind of the idea. I mean, I hate their shirts. It drives me crazy. I can't imagine wearing those type of shirts just because personally, I just hate them. So, but I think that's the idea that is their gimmick is their cringe. They are supposed to be cringy and weird and don't make sense and do crazy things. I mean, so I think it's working. They're ones you want to hate.
I have to say, during this match, which I didn't think was a bad match, I was legit worried for a second. I don't know if this was a botch or there was some miscommunication, but there was this one spot where Elton Prince, as we ended up learning, he was playing possum and he was grabbing his knee, but I feel like it went on too long. Even Rich Holly was like, don't fall for that trick. So, but it went on really long. So I kind of like thought to myself, oh, this shit, did he get like legit injured again? Or then, you see Kate Wilson cheap shot Rich Holland and Pretty Deadly was victorious. So I was legit worried for a second there. I don't know if was like a botch and somebody, and he called it too early, but it went on a little long. So I was a little worried there.
Yeah. Hold on half a second. Apparently my computer wants to die. So let me go grab my plug real quick. But keep on going on. I'll be right back in half a second.
Sure. Okay. So, yeah, they kind of did come out to crickets, but Pretty Deadly was victorious here. And I thought it was a great re-debut for them. I mean, I was legit concerned about Elton Prince. But hey, he was okay. And I think that they're funny, and I definitely would like to see more of them. But let me know, you guys, in the comment section what you thought of this match. And would you like to see more of Pretty Deadly? So, all right. We get a Carlito interview. And basically, Carlito saying that there's only one word to describe his return, and that is cool. Yes. Before we go any further, Josh, do you want to see more Pretty Deadly, and what did you think of their comeback match?
I definitely think they're good. I mean, NXT, they definitely were. I think they've evolved in the way they're cringy. I think their comedy is a lot more. I mean, it's British, right? They're from the NXT UK, so you have that British dry humor too, and kind of the I dare say kind of the silly, kind of over the top, effeminate characters. I definitely think they can work. I think that they have to find the right team in order to kind of work with. They worked with the Creed brothers in NXT. It was okay. I think I want to see more. Again, I definitely think they have a place as the comedy team. Because think about it, you don't have very many comedy teams in WWE right now. R-Truth being injured. We don't have the R-Truth randomly showing up and saying my bad type of deal. So definitely I think they have a place. I think they do.
Yes. Okay, so as Carlito's being into, Bobby Lashley interrupts, and he wants his first match back on SmackDown against Bobby Lashley, but the Street Profits end up attacking Carlito. And when they come, that's not cool, right? That's not cool. if I were the Street Profits, I'd watch out for Carlito because they're probably gonna get some apple in their face.
They better not go to a club. We know what happened with John Cena way back when. They better not go to no
Yeah, he
club at
got
all. Carlito takes
Cardi-
care of him that way.
Carlito ordered a hit out on John Cena.
That's
I
right,
still don't.
Jesus.
Knowing WWE, I'm really surprised they didn't film any footage for that type of angle.
Back then, I mean, they probably could have in the Ruthless Aggression era. I guess somebody just didn't have time.
Yeah. So this base, and let me see, seeing Lashley and Carlito again was a throwback. They need to change Carlito's theme back to classic. Yes, they do. I agree. That new theme song is terrible. So they used this segment pretty much to set up Bayley versus Zelina Vega. And before we get into that match, we actually have a Bloodline segment. And they're basically talking about how Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso holding the tag titles is a disgrace and a slap in the face. And Jimmy says yeet, but Roman doesn't like that. So it seems like eventually maybe Jimmy, just based on that, seems like right now he's doing everything he can to stay in the bloodline, but I feel like eventually he'll be out of the bloodline again.
I think that I love the story that they're telling, that the fact that Roman was gone for so long and that Jimmy, thinking that he is, of course, the second in command, basically would be giving orders, if you think about it. And again, later on, we get a segment where he's like, "You're sitting on my couch, man. What are you doing sitting on my couch drinking my water? Come on, Solo. Stop doing that. Stop acting like you're the boss." So I kind of like this little nuanced thing of like, Jimmy's got all this power and Roman's been gone. And Paul Heyman, I mean, if you think about it, he even did this to Paul Heyman. I mean, so there's little bitty hints that we've been seeing. And I love this new breadcrumb storyline that we're getting within the bloodline. And that Roman's starting to get tired of starting to see Jimmy's trying to become the main event and force himself into it. So I like this. I really do like this sort of tension now.
Yeah. Let's see what it leads to. Maybe Roman versus Jimmy at some point.
I think we're looking really at, and again, if we take the roles being reversed, right, in the order of evolution, we had Randy Orton get kicked out first, then Batista, then Ric Flair. But really what I'm seeing now is I'm seeing, of course, Jimmy, truly Sami Zayn, if we really want to talk about it, but Sami Zayn and Jey Uso being the Orton being kicked out of the group. And I think Jimmy getting too crazy for himself was kind of like Flair getting kicked out. And then I think, of course, as we know, I imagine Solo is eventually going to finally just have enough of Roman, and that's going to be your Batista.
The day Solo Sikoa, Samoan spikes Roman Reigns,
people are going to lose their mind.
Everyone's going to lose.
This is what this is all going to lead to. This is all the design.
Yeah, exactly. Is it all violent by design?
Maybe.
It's an impact. That's an Impact reference. If anybody,
right, I get it. No, I love it. No, I get it. I don't know much about it, but I do know the name. So very nicely done. That's cool.
Okay, so we get Zelina Vega versus Bayley, which was kind of a short match here. Very short match. Was not a huge fan of this. I feel bad for Zelina. She never really gets to do much. She's mostly just a manager. She has yet to win gold. Except for, singles gold. She was women's tag team champion, but she has yet to win singles gold. So I just feel bad for her. But this match wasn't all that good. Bayley is victorious after she hits a rose plant. And then as Bayley and Io Scar are attacking Zelina Vega, Charlotte chases them away. So.
Right, Charlotte and her weird thing she started to wear. I'm sorry. I hate the stuff she wears. It's so strange. Her attire, everything. I hate it. So I mean, it's definitely weird.
So our main event is Solo Sikoa versus L.A. Right? Yeah. And honestly, I didn't think it was a bad match. I'm actually really happy that L.A. got the chance to main event. Now, I was kind of worried for a second there. I kind of thought, okay, because Jimmy Uso showed up. So I kind of thought he was going to ruin this main event. But no, he showed up. Cena came out, hit him with the AA. And then Solo Sikoa hit Cena with the small spike. Again, I feel like they're setting up Cena versus Solo somewhere here. Maybe, probably before Cena goes back to Hollywood, he's going to put Solo Sikoa over.
Sure.
And then LA Knight hits the BFT to Solo Sikoa, and he is victorious. I'm really happy he got a clean win here. And he got the chance to main event SmackDown. And let me see. It was a good match. Yeah, it definitely was.
Yep.
And as he's up there celebrating, SmackDown ends with Roman Reigns spearing L.A. Knight. Yeah, and he gets booed. So obviously that was a good main event, and I really like the fact that he did get. Before anybody says anything, the fact that he did get speared, I think says a lot. I feel like Roman's probably just trying to derail his momentum or something. But what are your thoughts on the main event on the ending to the show?
I definitely think that, we're looking at Cena versus Solo. I mean, again, now had only Cena put Umaga over because, I think Solo was kind of with the Samoan spike. I mean, it's not technically Umaga Jr. He's technically the cousin to Umaga, but I do like the little nuances here and there. But Solo, I guess NXT was a little different. He talks a lot more. So I kind of wonder if they're keeping him quiet, kind of like the Batista role again, as I mentioned. The match itself was good, though. I mean, definitely them two, you would not expect them to main event SmackDown, but I definitely think it was nice to see something different. And again, the idea that Roman's not being used in the main events anymore is interesting. I kind of expected more of a tag team match again because maybe I really expected Roman Reigns to be like, hey, Jimmy, let me show you how this is really done. Let's have a tag team match, me and Solo, and you can just watch from the sidelines. But no, the ending, I mean, again, less is more. The crowd wanted to see LA Knight hit that BFT on, I think it's BFT, right? I think I'm saying it right.
Yeah,
BFT on
BFT.
Roman, but just the spear alone. And again, look, I mean, if you watch anytime Roman comes out, the crowd instantly is always putting those one fingers up, taking pictures, right? So, and videos. So the idea is the fact that you're getting LA Knight, this over baby face, getting them to boo a character who really truly now has almost transcended the idea of being booed because he's such a cool, over dominating character. So I really think I think that spear is probably going to be the biggest moment. I say, at least for now, that's one of his biggest moments in his career. Just having being speared by the undisputed champion, because again, it's going to probably set up for a match at the Crown Jewel. So I definitely liked it. I thought that's how it should have ended. I thought that Roman Reigns has to beat up LA Knight. They have to have it to where you want to see LA Knight hit that BFT, and we're probably going to get that in the match. I don't imagine he's going to win the title. If he does, it'll shock me, but I think it's setting up kind of momentum. I mean, Roman really even beating these characters, with the exception of Cody. I still think that killed his momentum, but he's really giving everybody momentum. I mean, he had Sami Zayn main event a pay-per-view in his hometown. When were we going to get that without Roman? So I definitely think it's a pat on the back in reverse from Roman to be able to work with LA Knight.
Definitely agree, and I cannot wait. Like I said, he may lose, but he's gonna look great in defeat. He's gonna be an even bigger star afterwards, and I think this is the biggest match of his career. But he's gonna pass with flying colors
for sure.
6 out of 10 at first. Thought the show was terrible, but after watching Rampage, SmackDown was season was a better show. So on a scale of 1 to a Sean Spears perfect 10, what would you rate tonight's SmackDown?
I would say a 7. I kind of maybe expected a Kevin Owens match. I was kind of surprised they didn't do anything besides the stunner. I thought maybe we would get a Dominic versus KO match after the break, and maybe that was Aldis' first thing. It's like, hey, you said you're going to slap Kevin Owens in the face, Dominic. Why don't you show us right now how you're going to do it? But and not that Kevin Owens makes it an 8 or anything, but I like the show. I think there should have been a little bit more interaction with Kevin Owens showing up. I think there should have been a little bit more I dare say Roman, but I think there should have been a little bit more involvement. It was a good show. I mean, definitely wasn't a bad show. It was a lot better than what I've seen lately.
Yeah.
But I was surprised that we didn't get more interaction with Cena in a backstage segment. I kind of expected that. But beyond that, not a bad show.
I would give it an 8. I actually really liked tonight's show. I didn't think it was too bad of a show. I will say this. I was kind of, it started off slow with the John Cena stuff. It picked up. As for Zelina Vega versus Bayley, no disrespect to them or anything. I wasn't a huge fan of their match. It's not their fault though. It's just not their fault.
Right.
It's not. As far as the whole segment with Triple H, I felt it started off a little slow again. I don't know why they brought out Dominic Mysterio out there. I wanted to see a little bit more of Kevin Owens, so that. But I thought it had a great main event, and I really did like the stare down between Cody, Roman, and Jimmy, Solo, and Jay. So that was a pretty decent SmackDown compared to what we've gotten in the past. So
for sure. Yeah, I mean, definitely it was a good show. I mean, again, I admittedly didn't watch Rampage, and again, honestly, I have I've not watched Rampage probably since the second show, because once I realized that, Rampage became kind of like I'm just going to say it, not everybody's going to say it, but I kind of feel that, and I know we're not talking about AEW, but I'm just going to throw this out there. I kind of feel like Rampage to me feels like I don't know, I dare say Velocity, a Saturday night, type of deal, or Sunday Night Heat, where, Collision feels more like Raw and Dynamite feels more like Thunder to me at this point. I mean, again, I know that's, probably sacrilege to the AEW fans, but I don't know. I'd be curious to see what the ratings are with SmackDown and Rampage.
Yes, same. All right. Do you have anything you want to say as we get ready to sign off?
No, I'm curious to see what's going to happen on SmackDown next week. I hope that they keep continuing to keep LA Knight on SmackDown. I get he's popular, but I still want to have that brand split expectations. I don't want to see LA Knight on Monday nights. I mean, I don't mind seeing him, but I want to see him on one show, because there is such a thing as fatigue. The idea of the brand split is so you don't get tired of these characters. So I'm hoping that, again, Nick Aldis, starts stealing talent from Raw. I hope that he says, hey, we're going to take the tag team titles and we're going to take them. Just like Stephanie McMahon took Brock Lesnar way back in 2002 when he won the title after SummerSlam. It was a great coup, and it really kind of started that competition. So I'm hoping that they really start this sort of Raw versus SmackDown. Hey, I'm going to have this person on. I'm going to have, that's what we need.
We don't need Raw versus SmackDown at Survivor Series. We don't need that again.
No, not there. But I mean, in terms of having that sort of rivalry, because look, I mean, we look at the AEW Tony Khan thing, and I think they took Tony Khan's comments as a act of war. And so what they did instead, because they had no competition back in 2002 after WCW closed and TNA wasn't a thing, they had their own internal competition. So I like that. I want to see Raw versus SmackDown, and NXT, of course, is its own thing. But I definitely want to, I'm looking forward to SmackDown next week. I did enjoy this week's show, and I'm definitely looking forward to next week.
Same. Dynamite feels like Raw, while Collision feels expected, but Collision's just mid. We would have gotten Raw versus SmackDown. Vince was booking it. Yeah, that's true. Brand warfare. Alrighty then. Well, you guys, thank you guys all so much for watching and for the continued support. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell so you get notified whenever I live or release a new video. And I hope to see you guys Monday after Raw. Bye.
Bye.